The ruin author, the blemished one, the supreme executioner, the monarch of extinction. They are Nanook the Destruction. Hey Trailblazers! Lore Hunter Fenry here with a look into the first Aeon we encounter in-game, Nanook the Destruction. We'll dive deep into their origins and the factions that worship them in this exciting video. Before we begin, I'd like to mention that this video will include some spoilers. Don't say I didn't warn ya. Now, let's blaze a trail into the unknown together. It's said that Aeons are born out of intelligent beings from across the universe. Nanook is no different. As explained in the simulated universe, Nanook came from a star system called Adlivun, which has now been destroyed. The birth of an Aeon was often accompanied by an anomaly that shook the universe, and Nanook had probably ignited their own home. I got some information from the Astral Express on how Adlivun used to be. It was a tragic world, completely marred by the Emperor's War, and was unfortunate enough to be on the path of the Swarm's march. When Akavili arrived there, Adlivun was still fighting a tense and endless war with the remaining descendants of the Imperator Insectorum. What kind of an Aeon would such a planet create? It is therefore not hard to imagine its eventual fate. That's almost insane. A planet ravaged by war by two separate parties birthed the Aeon that only seeks to destroy. And they destroyed their own planet in the process. Talk about sheer power. You might be wondering to yourself, well, how do they get these powers? Well, when an Aeon is born, they are given control of the imaginary element, shaping it to their will. This is what gives rise to the Aeon's path. Nanook chose pure and total annihilation of everything as their path to tread on. You know, much of the secret of the paths are still unknown to us. As explained in Herta's simulated universe entry for Nanook, Terminus, the finality, was already traversing the universe by the time they came into being. Kinda makes you wonder what will happen if they collide one day. Well, only time will tell what will happen should that occur. Now, while Nanook is the youngest considered of all the Aeons currently, they and their minions are also considered the greatest menace in all of the universe. We'll talk about why that is in a later part of the video. In this next section, I'd like to talk a little bit about some events that happened before our chance meeting with Nanook. After their birth, Nanook began traveling around the universe, gathering troops for their massive army. They destroyed entire planets and stars in their wake, causing immense devastation and destruction on their crusade. Nanook would recruit powerful beings from most planets they invaded and cast them onto a hellish planet called the Warforge, where they would be remade into his Emanators and Legion. Their legion would then spread out across the cosmos to sow the seeds of destruction, affecting more and more planets and people. Many civilizations were obliterated, their occupants wiped out, or became refugees amongst the stars. Another event that may affect us in the future was when Nanook had come to a white star named Vitora. With the White Star's destruction, the flames coalesced with the power of destruction and birthed new plasmic life forms. This event gave rise to Ifrit, the fire demon, or better known as Duke Inferno of the Everflame Mansion. He also caused a bit of mayhem on Herta's space station in the present. Now comes our favorite part: how we met Nanook the Destruction. In the present, we had just woken up to find the space station we found ourselves on under attack by the Antimatter Legion, a massive army that served Nanook. Fighting our way through, with the help of our new companions March 7th and Don Hung, we managed to fend off the ongoing attacks and rescue the survivors that we found along the way. So close to the exit, we are stopped in our tracks by the Antimatter Legion's big gun, the Doomsday Beast. And after a grueling battle, we shielded our newfound companion March 7 from one of the beast's attacks, activating a strange power inside of ourselves, and earned a gaze from the Aeon of Destruction themselves. They blessed us with the power of destruction, able to do some pretty decent damage to either a single target or a line of them. That and the baseball bat we get, it's pretty cool. This becomes our main path for the time being, and our only encounter with the Ruin Author themselves. That's not to say our only encounter with his army or other factions, of course. Now, we talked briefly about the factions that serve Nanook. What we know so far is that we have two groups: the Antimatter Legion, his main army, and the Annihilation Gang, a group of outcasts that was unable to join the main army. The Antimatter Legion is considered Nanook's main army, and a massive one at that. At the top of the rank, besides Nanook themselves, you have the 7 Lord Ravagers, beings who are powerful emanators and were carefully selected by the Ruin Author themselves. The Lord Ravagers are said to also symbolize the 7 extremes of destruction. How are these beings created, you ask? Well, let's look at an entry from the Astral Express's databank. The Aeon of the Path of Destruction, Nanook, cast a glance at the powerful creatures sprouting destructive impulses throughout the cosmos and brands them with a mark, granting them powers. These powerful creatures are twisted from inside out and are recast anew in the world of the Warforge. Their inadequacies patched up with antimatter, they ultimately become the members of the Legion. Responding to the desire to destroy everything, Lord Ravagers emerge to command each of the different legions. A Lord Ravager is an emanator of the Aeon, an executor of the will of destruction. Obsessed with the beauty of destruction, they implement the practice of returning all things to entropy. They are also artists on the battlefield and ultimate weapons of destruction. They command interstellar warfare and control the might of destruction bestowed by the Aeon. Each Lord Ravager has a unique philosophy of destruction, making them extremely dangerous. Academics believe that Lord Ravagers were elevated as emissaries of Nanook due to this absolutely obsessive and intense destructive aesthetic. The displacement and desolation caused by the Lord Ravagers are not some distant wail, but are closely linked to the fate of the cosmos. Any world could be the next victim, and nobody should take them lightly. We know the names of 4 of the 7, while the other 3 are known by possible titles or none at all. We know so far of Phantilia, Zephyro, Selenova, and Iron Tomb. And the titles of 2 of them are probably known as the Chess Player and the Sun Devourer. We can now turn to the Xianzhou's alliance's extensive knowledge about each of these lords and what havoc they wrought across the universe. Phantilia. Based on IPC records, at least 122 planets were plunged into chaos of unknown origin over the past 600 years before their ultimate demise at the hands of the Antimatter Legion. Corporation investigators initially leaned toward these being isolated events, but all disaster assessment reports attributed these events to a single cause, quote-unquote spiritual disintegration, the internal conflict of belief systems, the crumbling of spiritual pillars, the collapse of trust within civilizations, and the complete abandonment of all hope. This was the doing of Phantilia, and she was also the one responsible for the series of destructive events on the Lofu. Zephyro, aka Scorching Flare. With a terrifying reputation as a one-man army, Zephyro is the most passionate overlord about violent destruction. Zephyro is obsessed with the raw power and beauty of things just as they burst open at the point of destruction. In the year 6804 of the star calendar, the sun of New Bethlehem was ignited, scorching its planetary surface with huge amounts of radiation, instantly turning it into glass. In the year 7143 of the star calendar, a huge cyclone was stirred up, smashing the ecosystem on Aeon into smithereens. In the year 7658 of the star calendar, the moon shield's outer shell was drilled straight through, launching an attack on the planet core that crushed the entire planet. These acts of destruction neatly encapsulate Scorching Flare's extreme passion for doomsday scenarios. Selenova. Selenova is the frontline general for the ruin author Nanook. For some reason defying logic, Selenova is Nanook's most frequently used general. Her troops spread throughout the galaxy, weaving a network of destruction between the stars. The Yaojing, the Zhouming, and the Fanghu ships all have records of fighting against Selenova's minions. Stelleron is also the only emanator of destruction to board a Xianzhou ship. Records from the history of the Xianzhou have her requesting a ceasefire with the Zhenzhou Zhouming around the year 5700 of the star calendar, requesting the ship to change course and assist in attacking the home world of the Wing Weavers. Iron Tomb. Iron Tomb's modus operandi is attacking technologically advanced civilizations. All survivors, without exception, recount the same experience: a complete intellectual collapse. In a flash, Inorganic AI legions are paralyzed or turn against their mates. Outer space defense arrays begin targeting the home planet. Flying vehicles scatter at random like flies, unable to target the enemy. Iron Tomb's forte is attacking civilized worlds confident in their technology. The Sun Devourer. The Intelligentsia Guild has provided a light comparison map of the star zone around the Uvana chain. 1/3 of its stars has been extinguished by some unknown force for nearly 300 years, and it is beyond reason to suggest that this has occurred naturally. The Antimatter Legion roams freely across these worlds shrouded in darkness, raining down destruction upon this eternal nightscape. Survivors from the Uvana system termed this one the Sun Devourer. The Chess Player. The Stargazers of the year Che once produced 152 consecutive years worth of observational records about the dead planet Syracuse 3. The Legion crept very slowly toward this front line, building up an advantage, exerting pressure, and chipping away at any resistance. Just like observing an ant colony, they watched their victim experience slow structural collapse. Similar phenomena also occurred during the deaths of Red Babel, the Ogle Ring, and others. Speculation rose that behind the scenes lay an overlord with the calm, self-sufficient temperament of a chess grandmaster, pulling the strings of strife as it developed. And finally, the unknown Lord Ravager. Ecologists from the Lofu's Realm-Keeping Commission once researched a strange world that has completely been converted into antimatter. All antimatter objects hurtle toward their matter counterparts, releasing a destructive dazzle upon impact. Antimatter Legion creations have always had distorted, twisted appearances. When destroyed, many instantly implode with an intense backfire, dragging their enemy along with them to their destruction. Perhaps this strange characteristic is derived from this unnamed overlord? Besides the Lord Ravagers, I'll also talk a little bit about the Doomsday Beast, the first boss that we encounter officially in the game. Using fragments of the Dusk Leviathan as the foundation and the weeping bones of thousands of the dead in the Warforge as the agent, the Antimatter Legion casts the Doomsday Beast. The resentful spirit's senseless obsession turns into a tangible hand, and the shadow of the old disaster conceals the heavens. The Doomsday Beast detains the will of all beings that are not at ease and have yet to die. Anger, mourning, or delusional joy, all is revealed, and all evil eagerly throb. The Doomsday Beast core is a dark matter engine. Talk about some intel. Whew, that was a long one, guys. Not gonna lie. Alright, the next group we'll cover is the Annihilation Gang. According to the data bank from the Astral Express, the value Nanook sees in the Annihilation Gang may be less than the value an infant sees when they smash a vase. Not all fanatical devotees of the Path of Destruction are welcomed into the Antimatter Legion. There are many murderous species throughout the cosmos obsessed with pillaging and annihilation, but they lack the ability to systematically pursue the will of destruction. The scumbags of the Annihilation Gang fantasize about one day serving as pioneers of destruction, but they have no idea that their cruelty only incurs Nanook's utter contempt for them. The reason is that the Annihilation Gang's goal behind their thirst for destruction is not pure enough. Chaotic desires are also mixed therein, with some taking pleasure in bloody slaughter, some plundering as an excuse for filthy vengeance, and some relying on endless destruction to calm their internal madness. They claim to be loyal followers of destruction, but never escape the enslavement of their own selfish desires. These marauders roam the stars, dragging everything they touch into a vortex of havoc. They will not abandon their feeble personal ideals, and so must endure the tortures of eternal spiritual exile. The Annihilation Gang is seen as a rather large group of individuals unable to join the Antimatter Legion. Outcasts, they revel in chaos, havoc, and slaughter to hopefully obtain the gaze of their Aeon. This quote-unquote gang is split into two separate entities. You have the Everflame Mansion and the Japella Brotherhood. Each of these sub-factions actually despise the other, despite being a part of the same quote-unquote gang. Since the Japella's Brotherhood's downfall at the hands of the Stelleron hunters, allegedly, Duke Inferno of the Everflame Mansion has claimed more power. However, there is a rumor floating around that he has been assassinated and the Everflame Mansion has scattered. Are these rumors true? Comment your thoughts below. Just as a side note, this recording was actually made before the 2.1 announcements or the Honkai Star Rail animated short Rondo Across Countless Kalpas. So if you guys really think that he might be alive at this point, comment below now. We can't get away with talking about the path of destruction without discussing the cancer of worlds, the Stelleron. While the Stellerons are believed to be associated with Nanook the Destruction, we do not have solid evidence linking them together at this time. What we can glean from various reports and logs is that when the Legion appears on a planet, a Stelleron just happens to show up there as well. They are seeds of disaster, capable of granting a world what they desire the most, but also causing disaster to that planet as the price for fulfillment. For example, the now snow-covered planet of Harilo 6. A Supreme Guardian communed with the Stelleron in an attempt to save her people from the destruction of the Legion. The Stelleron responded back and caused a massive planetary freeze. Now perhaps only a single bastion of human civilization remains on Harilo 6. Currently, there is no absolute way to destroy a Stelleron. With the knowledge and technology we have, we can only contain its power and influence. Alright, Trailblazers, that was our analysis of Nanook the Destruction. Feeling confident enough to take on the Doomsday Beast by yourself? What are your thoughts about the lore of the Stelleron? Was the Duke Inferno assassinated? Comment your thoughts below. I'm always looking to improve my content, so if you have any suggestions for our next video, go ahead and leave a comment there as well. Please like, share, and hit the bell icon for more. I'll be uploading a new video every other Wednesday. In our next exciting episode, we'll be discussing Klopoth the Preservation and their factions. This is your host, Lore Hunter Fenry, signing off. I'll see you amongst the stars.